All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. I'd also like to give double honors to my elders, bishops, and apostles of Great Millstone that do boot well. And I would like to say peace, safety, and salutations to the Lord's beloved elect, to the hopeful elect in 1/3. And Adawan Ratazah, this lesson will be edifying as well as exhorting to the sincere sheep of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rachak Kodash. And the Wada Abanawa Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rachak Kodash for giving me the inspiration to do this lesson. And as the title reads, Federal Judges Orders Babylon to Deplete Itself. All right. And what I want to do is I want to shed some light on this situation that Babylon is facing legally, politically, governmentally. And I want to inform the brothers and sisters on really what's going on with this food situation, as well as prophecy. Okay, so, I will say this for brothers out there and even the few sincere sisters, just because you heard some kind of relief is coming doesn't mean that Babylon is still not going to be destroyed. And it doesn't mean that this food crisis that Babylon is facing, it doesn't mean that it's going to end. Okay, so, I will say, of course, knowing prophecy, but understanding the legalities of Babylon, you'll really understand a lot of things that they say are for, public use. It doesn't mean that they're going to really fix anything. All right. So I just want to share some information, get us some education. All right. On really how Babylon works, the federal government. Okay. And this situation. Okay, so let me start off with this real quick. Always got to start off with a precept. This is actually, let's start with Isaiah. This is Isaiah 47:1. It says, "Come down and sit in the dust," and dust represents confusion. Okay, and this is a lowly position. All right, it says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon." And I want to emphasize on this the virginity aspect, because when you think about food crises, when you think about issues that Babylon is beginning to face, and you really think about it, these are things that have happened around the world, and everything was business as usual right here in Babylon. But now Babylon is starting to face in particular issues that it hasn't really dealt with or dealt so before. It says, "O virgin daughter of Babylon," Babel, confusion, "sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate." And you cannot call Babylon tender and delicate. In fact, it's actually very dangerous. And real quick, I believe China told its citizens, China told students to not go to America for, let's just put school, I think it was college, for the first time. Okay, let's see what comes up. Let me see. 2020, a Chinese student was questioned for hours. No, Chinese student, no. China told, I'll have to look more into it, but if I'm not mistaken, I came across something where pretty much the Far East was telling its students, outside of, traveling abroad, one in particular place not to go is America, which it also says the people will return to their own land. So the point is that Babylon is a very dangerous, disgusting, treacherous, betraying place. And she's no longer looked at as tender and delicate, okay? It's eating itself from within. So now that I got all that out the way, let's jump right into this, okay? So for anyone out there, you've heard federal judges. When it comes to federal judges, there's about 17 to 1,800 federal judges, inactive or active. And what they basically are is they're basically the judges, the Pharisees, the scribes of the Constitution. So anything that happens in America pertaining to the executive branch or the president administration, the federal judge's job is to make sure that things are happening constitutionally. Okay, so when there's issues that are infringing on constitutional rights, that's when a federal judge or judges step in to allocate or fix issues that another opposing power has. This is why they call it checks and balances. Okay, so recently, two federal judges, one in Minnesota and one in Rhode Island, they ordered the FDA to use emergency or contingency funds to pretty much thwart this SNAP benefit issue. But what is high level about this is contingency funds are specifically kept back in case of a unforeseen event that they would need to use emergency money in case of that emergency. So they're literally forcing Babylon to deplete itself of funds to feed Americans. And on top of that, it costs America about $8 to $9 billion a month to feed over 42 million Americans. Okay. And the contingency funds is only 5 to 6 billion. So they can't even afford to heal this place, even though a federal judge or judges just forced the USDA to dip into these funds. So for any brother or sister out there, do not look at this as, oh, damn, we were close. Hell nah, this thing is still ramping up. You just got to be able to read between the lines, okay? So I said, explain to me how the federal judge makes USDA use contingency funds to feed Americans on SNAP, but what's going to happen December 1st when the contingency funds run out, and how using those funds are dangerous because those funds are specifically used in case of an emergency, okay? So this thing is happening, man. This is why the scriptures say these are the beginning of sorrows. And I just want to say this for the beloved brothers out there and the few sincere sisters: stay near to the altar, stay near to the word. Do not be going out here. Just stay near, okay? Stay near Yahweh Shem Shai while he may be found, man. This is the only place you're going to have true spiritual comfort. Everything else is falling apart. Matthews 24:8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. All these are the beginning of birth pains, okay? But all these only are the first of the birth pains, with more to come. Okay, so this is like a psyop. This is like this is gonna really trigger people, because it's kind of like see, contingency funds. All right. Now, what is the word contingency? Contingent means depending upon circumstance, not predictable with certainty. Okay, so this is confusion. They look out the windows and be darkened. They're using looking out the windows and be darkened funds. Okay, they're using emergency funds, and this is just the beginning. You know, it's like, say you made a bug out bag, and then you put beef jerky in that bag, and then you've already eaten the jerky, but then you still got to go and bug out. So they literally are depleting themselves. Now let's get the word deplete. Okay, because I got more for you, but wait. Deplete, use up the supply or resources of. So what's going to happen in December? And on top of that, not everyone is going to be getting these funds. Okay, not everyone is going to be getting them. I asked this. I said, have Americans receive SNAP benefits November? It's November 2nd. It says no. SNAP benefits will not be issued on November 1st due to the federal government shutdown. So that's the real biggest thing too. I want to also mention is the fact that the government, is still shut down, which, the Wadi Abashim al-Shah, I want to make this point too. So now what you're witnessing is a domino effect, a snowball effect, meaning soon there's going to be a bank run, because like me, and I always tell brothers and few sincere sisters out there, get your money off that stupid fucking card, okay? Get your money off stop putting all your fiat currency on this card, on this device, or just up in the air. Get your physical cash. What are you doing? Get your physical cash. Stop being stupid. Okay, there's going to be a bank run, because soon the people that work for the federal government, that are not getting paid by the federal government, that also have good credit because of the federal government, are now going to be able to pay their mortgages or house loans because of the federal government. They're not going to be able to pay their car notes. So now what happens? That affects the banks. Banks rely on fractional banking. Banks rely on debt. So when you are not paying debt, now this bank doesn't have any power with the debt, and now it can collapse within itself. So Babylon is depleting itself legally. Okay, you got all these federal people with their Hellcats, their leased or financed vehicles, their mortgaged homes, and now they can't pay on the 1st, which was yesterday. Okay, so what happens to the banks that gave them the loans? And then you have the what is it called? The Federal Reserve Banks, which that was set up by the elites. Okay, and it actually took a war for America to finally get a Federal Reserve Bank, and hence why they had the Federal Reserve Act that was done on Jekyll Island. Now you're going to have big bank allow little banks to basically go under. So this thing is literally happening from within. This is a great reset. So I want to really push this for the brothers and sisters out there. Do not think that everything is okay. Now that I've done enough yapping, this is Jeremiah 51 and 7. It says, Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. So people have gotten drunk off the Federal Reserve note, and really it's now fiat currency because now it's backed by the government's power. It's not backed by gold or silver. So now this dollar that has been stretched thin, overprinted, overused, overpriced, it is now starting to crumble in front of the face of people who have used it to dominate. And now you have a digital system on the rise. So this system has to cave in within itself. Okay, so now let's share a little information. I'm very excited about this. And it also, let me also get Rev 1 and 3. It is a blessing for us to be able to read, understand, okay, and prophesize. Revelations 1 and 3. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear. So it's a blessing for you to hear this, okay? Because imagine the people, imagine the Jakes that caught wind of some kind of relief, and then imagine how they're going to feel when they find out what that relief is. Remember, it tells you in Proverbs, the 12th chapter, that the mercy of the wicked is cruel. The wicked may have mercy, but the mercy that is given is actually cruel. It's mean. It's evil. It's like I'm starving, and the only piece of food you give me is unclean or disease. It's old. Like I remember years ago I was working in a kitchen and they didn't give us breaks, and me not being able to control my mouth, I'm like started saying shit like, yo, what's going on? I'm working for blah 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 blah. I can't even stop to eat. And then the Edomite found himself doing me a favor. He gives me this big ass pork steak. So it just goes to show you, man. It says, blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. So the time is at hand, and the clock is ticking, man. Okay, we're on day 32, which the longest shutdown was 35, which was under the first Trump's administration, I believe 45, and now he's 47. So, this is a very beautiful time that we're in. So do not allow any little bit of breaking news. No, you can't heal her. But the point that I want to pull out, the point I want to pull out is the fact that they're making them use contingency funds. They're not just making them use any funds. They're making them specifically use contingency funds. And let me explain that for you real quick. Okay, let's put what is contingency? Contingency, a future event or circumstances which is possible but cannot be predicted with certainty. So they're making them use funds that they put to the side for an event that they don't know may or may not happen. Wow. Contingency. What is contingency funds? Exactly. What is this? What is this that they're making them use? A reserve of money set aside to cover possible unforeseen future events. So these events that we're in the beginning of Jacob's trouble, and they're already breaking the glass. They're already making them use set aside money that can be used used later. Okay, so this is beautiful news, and this is why soon you're going to see people really bug out. Okay. And this is causing division from within, because what happens to some people that get the money or some money and other people that don't or are still waiting? See, you can't heal her. Okay. You can't fix this, Dr. Neville. It says, you're asking about two linked issues regarding supplemental blah, 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 blah. How a federal judge has directed the United States USDA to use contingency emergency funds to keep the program going during a funding lapse. What happens when those contingency funds run out? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, what's going on with the judge and contingency funds? Two federal judges, Massachusetts, I think I said Minnesota, excuse me. Massachusetts and Rhode Island recently ruled that, and guess what? even though that they ruled this, do you know, because we live in a diplomatic democracy government, now the opposing party has the right to appeal. Okay, so these people do not understand what kind of box they're put in. So just because these federal judges said that the USDA has to do this, guess what? They can still appeal it. Okay, or even if they say I will allow it, or I will, because I'll also add this in real quick. The federal judges have no true manpower. Their power solely relies on the military and executive branches obeying the orders that they give. If the presidential administration and the military disagree with federal judges, there's nothing that these judges can do about it. Do you understand how simple this place could literally overpower itself? Which in the G&T, it speaks about political turmoil. Okay, I believe 2nd Esdras 16. So let me keep reading. Just a lot of information, a lot of beautiful facts that we have to keep in our mind moving forward, knowing prophecies being fulfilled regardless. So it says the basis. States and nonprofit plaintiffs argued that the USDA attempts to halt SNAP benefits for November, despite having selectable reserves, was unlawful. See, I told you. So arbitrary. All right. So this is basically unconstitutional is what the federal judges are arguing. Okay. The USDA previously, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. But the USDA then changed, saying those constituent funds are only available, blah, 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 blah. The judges found that interpretation likely wronged and ordered the USDA to either release the funds or provide a plan by a particular date, by e.g. November 3rd, on how to continue benefits. So people are in waiting right now. Here's the juicy part, okay? It says the contingency fund is estimated about 5 to 6 billion, while SNAP monthly benefits cost in roughly 8 billion or more. So the funds that they are telling them to use, it will not even cover everybody, and at that for a full month. So what happens even if they do sprinkle out a little bit? Okay, they're going to shell out a couple dollars. All right, what's going to happen now in December? Okay, what's going to happen? See how they're stringing people along? If the contingency fund is used to cover benefits in a full month, right, it might cover most, but not all states or recipients. Some states may only manage partial payments or delay while logistics are sorted. And then what happens if the grid goes offline? Oh my God, this is a perfect case. This is a perfect shit hit the fan scenario. All right. Thank you, brother. I greatly appreciate that. And shalom, Yahweh Shem Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash, Barakatham, to you beloved brothers and few beloved sisters. Keep fighting. Just keep fighting. Keep fighting. Keep having faith. And not only have faith, have belief. Don't only have faith, have belief. Okay. This is 2nd Esdras 15 and 16. It says there, this is a G&T. Look how juicy this is. There will be great political turmoil. And guess what? If this situation that they got going on, which the world's a stage, don't you may have a couple of people that really believe in America and the system, but there's a lot of movers and shakers that are political puppets for Amalek, okay? And ultimately the New World Order. Go look at Trump shaking hands with a new prime minister of Ammon, and they're on a checkered floor in between two pillars, which was a Masonic ceremony. Psalms 83, speaking in real time. Why do you think all world leaders wear suits? Let's put this together, all right? So it says... 2nd Esdras 15 and 16, there will be great political turmoil. Okay, so guess what? We are on the brink of a constitutional crisis. We are on a brink of a constitutional crisis. And what is that? Isaiah 19, the Egyptian versus the Egyptian. And we are in modern day Egypt, and the modern day Egyptians are the Edomites. It says with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. So this is very beautiful. Okay, this is very beautiful to watch, to witness, to see, and to be here in real time. So let's get to the juicy. It says, where are we at? delayed, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it says once the contingency funds is exhausted or cannot legally be used further, benefits could halt, be reduced, or be delayed, leaving millions of low-income Americans without food assistance at the start of the month. Wake up, it's the first of the month. It says the longer the shutdown persists, the less likely state agencies, retailers, and benefit processors can keep up or plan around the cutoff, creating real food security emergencies. See? So these are body blows. These are body blows. So I just want to keep saying this again. It don't matter what these federal judges said. The average American is poor and uneducated. They don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They don't know about these branches. They don't know about the legislation. They don't know about the executive. They don't know what's going on. They don't know how this stuff works. Okay. And they don't know the process that's going to take too. Okay. Because I could get people like, oh man, damn, they said they're gonna fix the SNAP. No, the staff of bread is broken. Okay, so let's see what else it's got in here. Why is this dangerous? We know why it's dangerous. It says political accountability, using emergency contingency funds to cover what is effectively a breakdown of legislative process puts the burden on the USDA and states rather than resolving the root cause. It may set a precedent that benefit programs are stabilized and shutdowns by reserves, reducing urgency for Congress to act. Look at this. Okay, here we go. See? Ooh, look, moral. From a social justice perspective, using emergency funds to cover routine benefit roles raises ethical questions. Benefits meant for normal monthly assistance are being treated as an emergency fix that could degrade trust in the system. This is why during the Great Depression, they created a Social Security card to gain back trust to the system. So this can be used. So people are looking like we need a more structured, secure system. So if and when this happens again, and these rich white men fight each other, us black men and women, we won't have to suffer from it. And guess what they're going to be sitting there doing? It's like wrestling. You know, here it is. You got Stone Cold and Undertaker fighting each other. And when they are fighting, you get affected. So now what they want to do is make you think that you need to be given something so you don't get affected. And here the whole time, they're only fighting with each other because they're targeting you. Never trust thy enemy. Never trust thy enemy. See? And that's why we're not going to pity a snake charmer when they are bitten. Didn't Trump just say he was a snake? Jeremiah 51:8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon. See, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Okay, you can't heal her. Okay, you can't heal her. So now let's see. Let's jump into the future. So keeping the fact that let's say the government is still shut down, and let's say that everything that's going on is still going on, which this is going to be a bumpy month. Okay, it's going to be a very bumpy month. It says what to expect on December 1st or the start of next month. If Congress has not passed a full appropriation or continuing resolution by then, and if contingency funds are exhausted, depleted, or legally unavailable, see, legally, because once, remember, this is Babylon. So even though these two federal judges made or told the USDA to use these funds, guess what? Now these federal judges can do nothing legally against the USDA because now there is no funds that they can legally make them pay. Oh my goodness. Or legally unavailable. There may be no new SNAP benefits loaded for the next benefit cycle. States may either issue partial benefits, delay payments, or suspend altogether. And what's going to have they do that? What's going to happen? 2nd Ezra 6:22. And before I read this, I'll get that precept. Before I read this, matter of fact, I'm going to read that precept. Now, before I read that, I also want to say this too for you brothers out there, okay, and you sincere sisters, you have to understand, and I'm talking to you brothers first, you have to understand the things that the men of the Lord go through and deal with. These people can't even deal with an hour of that. These people can't even wait till sundown for the things that we deal with, okay? So this is why you're going to see people crack very quickly. See things happen very quickly because these people can't handle adversity. They can't handle these issues. They can't handle chastisement. They can't handle going on a forced fast. They can't handle it. Okay, so this is why things are going to happen very, very, very quickly. Isaiah 32:11. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled. And I want to say this, and I said this a few lessons ago through the Holy Spirit. She may be independent to a man, but she is dependent on the man. Okay, she may be independent to a man, but she is dependent on the man, and the man's going to give you a chip. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, and then you got children. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, but now these modern day children are just monsters. These women are raising monsters. They're literally ruining 3 generations in real time. You can watch a 15-second social media reel and see 3 generations gone in one sitting. Thank you, black woman. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats. See, they want that oven-baked fried chicken in a box. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. And you're not going to get that no more, okay? Because really what they're going to be crying for is they're going to be crying for the food of Egypt again, just like before. They're going to be crying for the food of Egypt, just like when we were in the wilderness. And you know what the Lord did? After he gave us quail, he smit Israel, okay? So the Lord will allow Jake to eat, but then that's when that judgment will come. Very scary. So anyways, going back to the point, 2 Ezra 6:22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And why is that? Because they are claiming to heal Babylon. So the general public of people, they're going to trust that Babylon will be healed and expect everything as a snap of fingers to go back to normal, not knowing how this business of Babylon works. Okay, that's all these people are. They're just consumers. They don't understand what keeps the lights on, what keeps the food going. This whole place is built off a chain reaction. And when that chain is broken, everybody feels the ripple effects, okay? And you know who it starts with first? The lower class, the middle class, then the upper class. See? All right? So shit's going to roll uphill, all right? So it says, let's see. So now we're talking about December, because we've already found out that just because federal judges have judges order Trump administration to use emergency contingency funds, that does not mean that it is broken what has been snapped. It does not mean that, but people are going to believe that because people are in gross darkness. People don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. And why don't they know what's going on? Because the Lord is not dealing with them to know what's going on. 2 Corinthians 4:4, in whom, start at 3, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world, and the God of this world is who? Esau, the physical counterpart of Satan, okay? So it says, in whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of Yahweh, should shine unto them. So they have a mental block going on. I'm speaking about 2/3 of the Lord's own people. When you go into this word blinded, okay, to make blind in the New Testament, metaphorically, to blunt the mental discernment, darken the mind. So these people's minds are completely darkened. This is why the woman, okay, the Israelite woman has no problem going to sleep at night being a complete whore, okay, not caring about her children. This is why the men under curses have no problem acting the way they do, because they have a darkened mind. Because if the Lord was dealing with them, they will be completely embarrassed and shamed for the actions that they have taken, even the thoughts that they think would put them to shame, okay? And they don't have that right now, but the Lord has given us that ability, and this is why we have the ability to see, all right? And we have the ability to read between the lines. I didn't go to school or college or have a business ethics or legal understanding. This is all by the Holy Spirit that's given us this information. See? All right. So let's see. Okay. So let's see. It says, even if contingency funds are used for November, see, okay, so we're still waiting to see. December's payment may be at risk if the reserves are depleted. Oh, see, I didn't even know it said that. I didn't even know it had this word depleted in there. So that's the Holy Spirit, because the federal judges order Babylon to deplete itself. See, it says, or if USDA determines they cannot legally, my hands are tied. We're legally not bound to do anything. See. So what's that going to cause? If people start witnessing and watching their standing government not be able to help the people, then the people are going to storm the castle of that government, so that they can help themselves. Just give me a second. Let me let this creature out. All right, excuse me for that. Okay, so let's get back into this. Let's get settled in again. All right, so let's see. Where were we at? Okay, it says they cannot legally draw further funds without appropriation. States may start contingency planning, voluntary state funds, food banks ramping, local governments stepping in, but those are limited and uneven. See, we've looked out the windows and it's dark. It's dark out there. What do you mean it's dark out there? Where's Trump? I can see an AI video now. And we're in this time right here. We're in Ecclesiastes 12. That's a title right there. That's a title. We are in Ecclesiastes 12. Read it. All right. So real quick. Let's verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. You got state officials, mayors, governors, all right, people in different positions with Babel names. I am the state advisor of all that bullshit. So anyway, these people, the money, the movers, the shakers, and guess what? With food issues, that's going to cause an issue with the stock market, recession, panic buying, inflation, the black horse. All this is tying in. Everything is coming into a full big pot that's going to burst wide open. It says, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinder cease. Have you, brothers, seen how many people have been getting laid off? What is it? UPS, 48,000. Amazon, something thousand. All these people, just thousands of people are losing their jobs. Corporate too. And why? Because they're replacing them with AI, but they still need bottom barrel slaves for the everyday grind. See? But now grinding cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. So these people have no idea. Okay, anybody that's has been able to put themselves in a position of good standing according to the business of Babylon, now they're facing it. Okay, you have lived a life of deliciousness, being a state or federal worker, and now you are affected first because this business of Babylon is about to go under new management. Okay. And this is the process that it takes. So the main thing that I want to focus on in this lesson is to push for brothers and sisters to not think that this is over. Do not think that this is over. Dumb federal judges, they may order, but that don't mean they got to listen. That's another thing too. So let me see real quick. Watch this. What happens? Watch this. What happens if the executive branch doesn't obey federal judges' orders? Let's see what happens. Let's see. Takes a second. Watch this. See, this is this is information they talk. Oh, look. That's a very serious and historic question, and it gets to the core of how U.S. government power works. See, you got to know how this place works. It says the Constitution sets up 3 co-equal branches: legislative, executive, judicial. What's the executive? The president, like USDA, Department of Homeland Security, etc. Oh, and guess what? With the federal judges ordering this, guess who now has to answer? The Department of War, not the Department of Justice. They've now changed their name to the Department of War. Okay? Judicial. The courts interpret the laws and can issue binding orders. But what happens when the executive don't listen to the judicial? Look, what if the executive refuses to comply? I gotta get Isaiah 19. Oh my goodness. Isaiah 19. What kind of American are you? I just watched that movie the other day. Great movie. I recommend you brothers, if you're looking for a movie to watch, go watch Civil War. Great movie. It says, if an agency or the president outright ignores or disobeys a federal court order, several consequences follow: a contempt in court, appeals. See, normally before outright defying a court, the executive branch files an appeal. So just because federal does this, federal judge does that, they have the right to appeal. Okay, Congress and political backlash. So what? Babylon's existence was it warring within itself. When you go to Revelation 6, let's get it. Let's get some quick information. We got camp in a couple hours, but Let's get some history here. Revelation 6:4, it says, and there went out another horse that was red. Red because Esau, Edom is red. It's that simple. All right. Remember the simplicity of a Mashiach. Red all over like a hairy garment. And power was given into his hands. Job 9:24. And the power that was given into his hands, he really concreted that power, not through force, but through the dollar. When you think about it, when you look back and see how, not the Oppenheimer, the Bowers, who became the Rothschilds, how they pretty much cornered the market of money and, started funding and holding and, causing interest and debt, that really put them in a position of power through money. Okay. What was it said? I don't care who creates what did he say? I don't care who creates the law as long as I control the money, something like that. But the money, or the power's in the money. What do you say? Money, power, respect. All right. So the power was given to his hand because he's got money. Okay. And it says, was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Is there any peace in Babylon? Ain't no peace out here, man. Okay. It's real out here. All right. We ain't in no fucking date night season. We ain't into the let's get together with family. It's getting real out here. And one thing that I noticed, the fools and women really try to look away at the reality that's going on. There is a war going on outside, okay? And you can only fucking ignore it and watch Friends for so long, okay? To where it's at your doorstep, man. And that's exactly what it's going to be. And people are going to get caught unaware. But it says Yahushua will come as a thief in the night. It says take peace on the earth, and that they should kill one another. World War I, World War II, Civil War, the Revolutionary War, and then also what established America's dominance, what established Babylon's dominance, Daniel 7. All right, it says there was given a sword in his hand, and that ultimate sword is the missiles. Let me real quick, Daniel 7:7, because this is how Babylon got existed. The Constitution is biblical. Okay, the Constitution is biblical. The Constitution is found in Daniel 7. Where is it? Leopard, that's the Greek right here. Right here, after the Roman Empire, right here. Daniel 7:8. I considered the horns. We haven't read this in a while. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them a very little horn. And that little horn was the 13 colonies. That was the 13 colonies that was funded by private investors, air quotations, from Europe. Who you think that was? Edomites. Who funded the Civil War? Rothschilds, if I'm not mistaken. It was the Rothschilds. It says, before whom there were three. So you had occupants of Edomites in the land of America, Spanish, French, and British. Okay. With the American and Spanish War, that's how you got Puerto Rico. And I think Cuba, if I'm not mistaken. Then you had the French War. That's why you got the Louisiana Purchase, Spanish, French, and Britain. And that's how you got America, because they had to gain their independence from Britain's, tyrannical dominance of taxing money. All right. It says, and there were three of the first horns plucked up by the roots, meaning they're not here no more. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of men, and a mouth speaking great things. Democracy. You have the right to vote, to put who you want in office. Shut up. All right. Let me go back. Okay. So we got this out the way. Blah, 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 legal, rule of law. Okay, whatever. So now watch this. What do I want? I want one more thing for you, because then I'm going to get Isaiah 19. So let's see. What could we put here? Let's see. Okay, I want to show you this. If the military and what does it say? Government shutdown, live updates, latest SNAP benefits, something on my phone. If I put this out here too. Brothers out there, man, listen, just focus on prophecy. Okay, just focus on prophecy. Get out of that spirit. Who texts me? Who calling me? Look, I just want notifications from the Lord. I just want precepts of the day. I just want to know what's happening around the world prophetically. Okay, get out of that fucking lover boy Drake spirit. Okay, that's what a lot of Jakes are under, a deep, dark love spell. And that shit is not making your eyes single. Okay, focus on prophecy, man. Everything is about to happen for us. Okay, you got to understand that you're already chosen and loved here, while not being loved and chosen out there. Okay, but the world will love its own. All right, this to me, this is comforting, man. I feel like I'm being hugged right now. If the military and the executive, I like that word, executive branch denies. Do I want to use deny? Denies orders from the federal judges, what power do the judges have? Watch this. Let's see what it says. That is a very deep and important question, and it goes straight to the heart of Babylon's government. See, what is it? Judiciary has no army of its own. See, so going back, I don't give a shit that they ordered. You can order whatever you want, nigga. You can order a pizza. It don't mean you're gonna get it. Federal judges don't command troops or police. Their authority rests entirely on the rule of law, meaning that their decisions are enforced by the executive branch, usually through the U.S. Marshals. It says if the executive simply refused to carry them out, the courts have no independent force to compel compliance. That's why open defiance by an executive or military would immediately become a constitutional crisis. Didn't we just say that? Didn't we just say constitutional crisis? There it is, people. See, you gotta understand how this thing works, man. I don't give a shit that federal. And you know what? Let me rephrase myself. I'm happy to see federal judges stepping on the scene because this is causing division. And before I get Isaiah 19, I have to get Matthew 12. I have to get Matthew 12 in the red letter, GMS red letter, Matthew 12 and 25. Now, in context, this is Yahushai referring to wicked Israelites. Like now, you see wicked Israelites, T-shirt French Israelites. They don't agree. They're all in division. Okay, and they're about to fall too. They're so far in the fucking past, it's not even funny. You got political crisis going on in the real world, and you got these guys sitting down talking. I don't even care. Matthew 12 and 25. And Yahushai knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. See, that's why two can't walk together lest they be agreed. And if anybody ain't agreeing with what you agreeing upon, fuck them, man. Okay, because we're moving forward. All right, we're moving forward. We're not in a time for you to try to bring in your third grade opinion. All right, and it says, and if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? Exactly. So we are in a time of a great reset. Okay, it's depleting itself. It's going to all these funds. It's tapping into things that they shouldn't be tapping into. So what's going to happen when the well runs dry? Isaiah 19 and 2. And I will set. Actually, let's start at 1. It says, the burden of Egypt. Behold, Yahweh Bashim Shai rideth upon a swift cloud. That is a so-called UFO. I am waiting to be delivered by the chariots of Yasharallah. Okay, we need to get out of here. It says, and shall come into Egypt. This is the modern day Egypt. This is the modern day Egypt. This is spiritual Egypt. If you don't agree with it, that's on you. Okay. It says, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. So this place is truly crumbling before our face, but we're in the beginning stages of it. See, it says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. And we're seeing Egyptians being set against Egyptians because of political beliefs. But this is all a part of the image of Babylon, the image of the beast. So this is a very beautiful, well thought out plan. Okay, you are on a monopoly board. Okay, and the elites control the bank. If you ever play Monopoly again, you should look at the bank as the Federal Reserve Bank. Okay, that's what you should look at it as. You should look at it as the bank that divvies out all the money. And do you know that they say that no one indirectly owns the Federal Reserve Bank, but that Federal Reserve Bank controls the U.S. dollar? Something to make you say, I didn't talk about that. I'm so busy caught up in BT, bitches, and ass, and dumb shit. I'm so caught up in rap. I'm so caught up in my love life that I don't even think about those things, because that's exactly how he wants you not to think. See? But then when you start thinking and you start questioning, then it's like, wait a minute. Who's that old white man behind the curtain? Shh, nothing to see here. Please go back. We have a Jake Paul fight for you. And people hate us for having a brain, man. Okay. And that's offensive. People hate us Israelite men that we actually have a brain instead of just a fucking body. How offensive is that? It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. And we're seeing that politically. 1 week it's because of ICE. 1 week it's because of you don't have SNAP benefits to buy ICE. It's just one thing after another. And things cannot go back to normal. Things are not going to go back to normal. Okay. It says, and they shall fight. And right now they're fighting what? Politically, governmentally, or in the court. Okay, but what happens when it spills out from the court because the court did not bring the right judgment? And they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and ultimately kingdom against kingdom. Okay, so I do see food being weaponized. I do see a great reset taking place. I do see a digital era on the rise. I see World War III happening. And I also see the standing powers that be creating some kind of device, what we know as the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip. I see them creating this in order to fix everything. Okay, because the Social Security card was created after the Great Depression. So this place is going to go through a greater depression, but what is he going to do to so-called fix it? He's going to try to fix it, and he's going to do it through the prophecy of the mark of the beast. So we're in very beautiful times. So keep fighting, keep holding on, keep your eye on the prize, and just watch and wait, see what's going on, just watch and wait, see what's going on. And I just want to say in closing, just because 2 federal judges ordered Trump's administration to use contingency funds does not mean that the SNAP benefits is fixed. They're making them use emergency funds that are specifically used for an unforeseen event. So what happens now when an unforeseen event happens and you ain't got unforeseen happening money? So they're making them deplete themselves. They're literally making them deplete themselves. And Jake is going to lose it when they find out that it's still going. It's not over. Okay, so I just wanted to do that quick lesson. Just had a lot of information. Right, UBI is on its way. Universal Basic Income. All right, so I just wanted to do that lesson. I truly pray that it was edifying, uplifting, exhorting, and comforting. I just wanted to let the sheep know kind of what's going on, just so you can keep your head wrapped around prophecy, and not think that, she got healed. No, she ain't healed, man. She hurt. She ain't healed. She hurt. So, all right, with that being said, I just want to say call halal, Banawa Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to my elders, bishops, and apostles of Great Millstone that do well. Peace, safety, and salutations to the Lord's elect. With that being said, shalom.